Welcome to Dark Horse Matters, the show about people, their passions, and their pursuit toward happiness. I'm your host, Bev Matayoshi, and I'm passionate about talking to people about their dreams, these things that drive them, their purpose, and their whys they do the things they do, the reason why they have all this energy to, make things happen. And it's just so inspiring. Every week on the show, I meet a new guest that just my goal is to help inspire you out there with these stories. These are real people going through these things. And it just motivates me. Every time I hear these stories, it just makes me feel like, I have purpose in life as well to share this with you. So if you are a returning viewer to the show, thank you so much for the support. Really appreciate you. If something resonates with you while you're watching these videos, put it in the chat, write some comments in there. Let's start a community discussion about these very important topics. And if you're new to the show, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button and, share it with your friends, because these stories could ignite a fire under you to go after your dreams. Very important. So today's guest, I love these people. They're the nicest couple ever. And I met them on my financial journey as well. We're kind of on the same path here. And this financial services company that we work with, it's just amazing because we meet everybody who joins this company has a crusade of their own that they're working on. But everybody is, the culture is just a cohesive team, all working toward different goals, but the same goal at the same time, and that goal is financial freedom. And that financial freedom provides you, the means to make your dreams come true and have that security in life, to know that you can have the freedom to not only take care of yourself and your family, but to give freely to others. And that is just so powerful and inspiring. And I love it. I love going to work every day because of these people that I get to meet and work with every day. So with that being said, please give a warm welcome to Espy and Mike Miramontes. Yay!
Everyone. Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I love you guys. You guys are just some of my favorite people. And what I love about you, Espy and Mike, so much is the energy that you guys bring, even if it's just on a WhatsApp, thread of just texting, like I can feel the love through the words and the presence that you guys bring. And that is just so powerful. Like no matter where you go in life, that energy, it's contagious and people feel that and people need that, especially now during this time. So I thank you guys. You guys are so amazing.
Thank you for that, Bev. And hello to your audience, to your awesome audience. We are so happy to be here and we so much appreciate the invitation and we love you this much. We love you, Bev, and we feel so blessed to know you. You are just the most wonderful, caring individual, and you have such a big heart. And I can go on and on. I'm just so I'm better for knowing you, and I appreciate your energy as well. And you have such a great attitude, and you're always cheerful, and you care about people. And I appreciate your mission and how you want to just be a good servant. And you're a great mom, and just
I'm starting to cry.
And having this podcast just says it all. It just is it's just proof of your servant heart and your goodness and how you want to reach people through this podcast. So thank you for allowing us to be a part of that.
Thank you. That is such kind words. I appreciate it. So I just want to, before we get into why I, asked you guys to be on the show, and we have a very common ground there. And it has a lot to do with the special kind of love as being a parent, right? I just want to ask you guys, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourselves? Where are you from and where did you both grow up?
Okay, I'll go first. Well, I'm from San Jose, California. So I was born there, lived most of my life there. So San Jose is about 40 miles south of San Francisco. So grew up there, born there, spent most of my life in San Jose, California. And then about 2 years ago, we moved up north next to a city called Tracy. And so we're in a little community called Mountain House right now. Yeah, which is about 40 miles north of San Jose.
So I was born and raised in Chicago, and my parents were from Mexico. I'm one of 10 kids. I'm number 6.
Wow.
And I came out here to California when I was in my 20s. And I met Mike. Mike and I met at a church in Campbell. And we were, I guess we were involved in the singles ministry, and yeah, we met it through some events and Bible studies. And yeah, we dated for a while, and then Mike proposed, and yeah, so.
Wow. How long have you guys been married?
20, almost 24.
Yeah, it'll be 24 years this October.
Yeah, 24 in October.
We started late. We got married in our 30s.
That's considered late, right?
Yeah.
I remember because it was 10/4/97.
Yeah.
That's funny that's considered late, these days.
Yeah.
Because I just remember when I was, a kid, I would think that you're supposed to get married, in your early 20s. That was just like a given, what you're supposed to do. And it's what every young girl looked forward to, wearing that white wedding dress and all that kind of stuff, and being a mom. I just want to talk about being a parent. Like you guys have how many kids?
Well, we have one. We miscarried 3. And our daughter, Rebecca, we call her Becca. She was our 3rd pregnancy, and she's our gift.
Yes.
Yeah.
These days it's really crazy because people are so, just driven with their careers and, like going to school. It's just such a milestone that people feel they have to meet before getting married and having kids, so it's not uncommon now that people are having children a lot later in life. Nowadays there's technology where you can plan ahead, and there's all these testing that you can do to make sure the baby's going to be okay and all that kind of stuff. But with you and Becca, I know she has some kind of special needs, right? My question was, were you guys aware of, the risk when you guys were trying to conceive and all of that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Did you want to go first?
Yeah. So before Rebecca was born, a doctor did consult with us, and they took some, they had Espy do some blood tests, and they came back with information saying that the test indicates that your daughter could have some kind of condition. We don't know what, but there's a chance she can have some kind of condition. Right. So we knew that going forward, even before she was born.
I didn't know about taking supplements or things to help have a healthy pregnancy. Although we were taking vitamins and things like that before. But because when I was pregnant with her, I was in my late 30s, which I had been informed that the older you are when you're pregnant, the more high risk you could be. Mm-hmm. And because I had already lost 2 before her, there was a concern that I was going to lose her as well. And so the doctor, had to have all those heavy what if conversations with us. And then when we did, they offered to do an amnio. And so that was pretty scary because I had heard some positive, some negative things about that type of testing. And then I was told through the ultrasound that, there was possibility she wasn't going to make it, or she was going to come out with other more severe deformities. So by God's grace, she made it. She was an emergency. She was a preemie. She was, what do they call that? When they have to go in and take her out. I forget the C-section.
Oh, wow.
She was a C-section. So she was a preemie. She weighed 3 pounds and 12 ounces.
3 pounds, 12 ounces.
So she was diagnosed with Down syndrome at birth, which I didn't fully understand, what that meant at the time. And then when she was 10, she was also diagnosed with autism. And then in between both of those, she also has sensory challenges. So she
Wow.
has all three of those that we work with her.
It's hard because like autism, it's such a wide spectrum of, severities. So it's so hard to diagnose. Like a lot of people are misdiagnosed, or parents don't even know that they need to be tested until it's like way later in their life when they could have gotten early intervention.
Yeah.
My son, he was diagnosed with autism at age 3, but I knew that there was something, when he was a year old, even as young as that. Like I was like, he's having certain traits of this. Like I recognized, you know, just learning about it in school, and I have a nephew who's autistic. I recognize those signs, but I didn't have him actually diagnosed until about age 3 when I moved here to Georgia. And I find it a blessing that it was that early, because he got to have early intervention in the school system. And they provide that for free here in Georgia, like in the public school system, which I find such a blessing, and for me, a single mom, and, you have to find all these resources, and you're on top of that, you have to work full time. It's been a struggle, but a blessing at the same time. So thank you so much for being so, open to talking about this, because it's a very important topic. And there's a lot of parents out there who have special needs kids, and then, sometimes it's just hard to know, like you want to have that community, that gives you support emotionally on top of everything else. I just want to ask you guys, like, when you were going through this, like when Rebecca was first born and everything, or even prior to birth, since you guys knew a little bit of the risks, like what were your fears that you were going through? Like what was going through your head, even after she was born?
I guess like she was so small when she was born, 3 pounds, 12 ounces, and so that was concerned that she was so little, and just wanted to make sure that we took care of her, and just so that she would grow and get bigger and gain more weight. That was a concern, just how petite she was, small.
Yeah, Mike, we have a picture. Mike took off his wedding band and he put it on her little head, and it was
Gosh.
so big on her head that it looked like a crown.
Oh, wow.
That's how small she was. And I remember being told that she would grow into her skin, because her skin was so loose and wrinkly, like a bird, like a little bird, like a tiny little bird. And I couldn't bring her home until she was 4 pounds. So, and then when I brought her home, she started losing weight. And so I thought, what scared me is, how am I going to take care of this little baby? She was my one and only one. I didn't have anyone to compare her to. I'd never done this before. And then Mike had only, at that time, he was working full time, and he was running out of time off. So I was on my own, and I wasn't sleeping because she wasn't nursing well. With Down syndrome, one of their characteristics, so they have developmental delays with Down syndrome. So her ability to nurse was not fully developed. So I was nursing her, she was losing all the milk.
Oh, wow.
So because she wasn't getting her nutrition, she was losing weight. So it was a day by day learning, and and like you said with your son, you saw some of the markers there that you were questioning. I was questioning as she started to develop a little more. There were other things I was seeing about her that didn't necessarily match the Down syndrome diagnosis. I saw that, but then I started to see some of the autism kick in, and I didn't know that it was autism. And I would ask the doctors, and the doctors would just say, well, wait until she's older. Maybe we'll do this or we'll do that. And so it was pretty scary, learning. And even though a lot of these diagnoses have some commonalities, they also have a lot of differences. Each child is still individual. And, as we know, some have one diagnosis, some have 3 diagnoses, right? So, you still feel all alone.
Right.
Even if you're with a group of people, at the end of the day, you're still on your own with this little precious thing, right? So that was kind of scary, just feeling our way and trying to take the time to learn and read up a little bit and get to know her and her reactions. And, but thankfully, Mike and I don't know how you did it being a single mom, because I really depended on Mike, and it was a blessing for us to be able to do this together. So bless
Yeah.
you, Bev, for how you did it on your own.
Well,
Yeah.
it takes a village. I didn't do it completely on my own. I have family and friends too who really, really, helped me through. And even though my kid's father, we're not together, he's still there and he's present in their lives. And that is a blessing in itself too. It's really interesting to hear, what you guys have been through, because, and like you said, every kid is different. Everybody's individual situation is so different. You really can't compare.
Yeah.
And I just, you're so strong. Both of you guys are so strong. I just find so much hope in the strength that you guys have. And your daughter is so beautiful, and she has such a beautiful personality, like I just, that's got to be from you guys. It's just your support, everlasting love that she's always surrounded with. So she's so blessed. You guys are so blessed.
I think it's the other way around. I think if we are anything, it's because of her.
Yeah, for sure. But it goes both ways.
Okay, but I just wanted to share something about God's grace. So Rebecca was born about a month early. So when Rebecca was about 7-8 months old, we went to go visit my brother and his wife, and so we're talking to them, and his wife's name is Beverly. So
yeah.
Beverly,
Yeah.
and so she says to us, "Have you done a stress test for Rebecca?" And we didn't know what a stress test was, and so right away we call our doctor. We schedule a stress test. We may have gone in the next day or the day after. So we go in the afternoon. We're there in the evening. They hooked up monitors to Espy, the heart rate and the heart rate of Rebecca. And I'm watching the monitor, and it's going up and down, going. And then I think, remember, it just stopped once. And that really concerned me because it stopped. That's not a good thing. It's supposed to go boom, boom, boom,
Right.
boom. Oh my God! Then it started going again, and I asked the nurse or the doctor, what happened? What happened? And I forgot what she said. That may have been a sign that Rebecca was under stress. She was under stress, which is not a good thing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think vaguely something like that happened. Yeah,
Excuse me.
yeah, because that was so they told us to come back in the morning. So we go back in the morning. They hook her up again with the monitors. They're watching the monitors, and then I guess there must have been a doctor. A doctor says, and she was about 8 months along, and the doctor says she has to come out now because she's under stress. We're right there. She has to come out now. So they took her to do the C-section.
Yeah, everything happened so fast.
Yeah, just like that.
And I didn't know. They told me that maybe the night before that maybe she was asleep. So I think they were maybe saying that just to keep me calm, because I didn't know they had told you that. And then when the doctor said, come back tomorrow, because we had been at the hospital all day.
Yeah.
All day. We were first across the street at the clinic, and they told me that they didn't have enough instruments to get a better reading on the stress. So they sent us to the hospital. And because we had arrived early, we had already registered. So then we went to the hospital. We were there several hours. The pastor even came to pray over us. And then afterwards, they called my doctor. She came in late at night, sent us home, said, come back tomorrow. We're going to do this all over again. And I told Mike, I don't have a good feeling. Something's wrong. It's not that I was feeling ill, but in my heart, and in my heart, something was wrong. And so I told him, we better pack a bag. So I packed my bag. We went in the next day, and like Mike said, they did the stress test, and he was so sick because he had severe allergies
at the time.
And oh my goodness. But yeah, immediately they turned me over and did all the testing, and then immediately they rolled me into emergency to have her taken out.
Yeah, and apparently one reason why she was under stress is because the umbilical cord was wrapped around her body.
Her
Oh,
entire body.
wow.
So I guess that was, just maybe slowing down the flow of blood to her, or just being wrapped around her. I mean, I guess that's one reason apparently why she was under stress.
Yeah, truly a miracle. Go ahead.
Yeah, and once again, my point is that the only reason we went because I visited my brother, and Bev asked, "Did you do a stress test?"
And it scared me when she said that. I thought, oh, they're just trying to scare us. And I remember crying and telling Mike, they shouldn't have said that to me, but that forced me to ask my doctor. And my doctor was going to do it, but she was going to do it later, when I was closer to delivering.
Right.
And since you asked for it, I might as well do it now.
Yeah, and it was a good thing. She's
yes.
coming out now.
God bless him for saying something.
Yeah.
So can I ask you, like, during this time, like when you're, like what were your resources that you have available to learn? Because a lot of it, I would imagine that you guys did a lot of your own research. Did you guys have any type of resources provided to you, like through your community or your church or your medical doctors that were helpful?
Yes. In the beginning, when she was in the NICU, there was an organization called Parents Helping Parents, and they're wonderful. I believe they're only in Santa Clara Valley, but I wish they could spread out more. I don't know if they're trying to, but they're so big and so well known in Santa Clara Valley. But one of their representatives was sent to us, and she dropped off some information about some resources to us about their organization. And then through the medical, I found out, I learned about the various therapies, the speech therapy, the OT, the PT. And then through our medical insurance that we had to see what was covered. And then some friends from church dropped off information. So little by little, I started to go online and look at some of these resources and learn from them and see what was, doable for us, what was affordable. Because a lot of it wasn't affordable. And if you want it tailor-made for your situation, for your family, a lot of it is out of pocket. There are some sources out there that are through the welfare programs or the government or the regional centers, which are a blessing as well. But when you want, you want to be able to pick and choose your own, if you want to pick and choose your own doctor or your own therapist or your own babysitter, it really has to come out of pocket. But one of the other reasons about the financial, why it's so, we're so passionate about sharing with others about the finances, special needs families. My youngest brother, I don't know if I had shared this with you, but my youngest brother had severe disabilities. And he was completely incapacitated. He never walked. He was bedridden all his life. And when Becca was born, we had just brought her home. She was still under 4 pounds, and he was in a coma. He went into a coma. But I put the phone on. My mom so we're in Chicago. We were in Campbell. My mom's in Chicago, in the hospital with him in a coma, and our pastor had said, have your mom put the ear on the phone on his ear, and you talk to your brother because he might be able to understand you even if he's in a coma. So we did that. So there my mom is in Chicago in the hospital with my brother, the phone on his ear, in a coma. And I put Becca there. And I said, his name was Alfie. I said, Alfie, this is your niece, Becca. And she was cooing. He's making little cooing sounds. And my mom said that when he heard that, his eyes went like that.
Oh, wow.
And he was in a coma. So my mom was convinced that they connected.
Yeah.
Alfie is another reason. So he was my brother and he was institutionalized. So when he passed away, we found out that institution he was in was abusing these kids.
Oh, no.
So that's another reason why we have a passion to be able to provide for our children with special needs, that they not need to be institutionalized. Yes, there are other resources and other helps, and I'm sure there's some good institutions out there. I don't want to speak ill of all of them, but that just made me more cautious as far as who we trust. and what
Right.
programs we have. That's why for me, it's so important that we are able to pay out of pocket, and I can pick and choose, and I don't have to rely on what somebody else chooses for me because I don't have enough money to pick for my own.
Right.
I would not want her institutionalized.
That is a very important, point of view for people to hear, because um I mean, you don't think about things like that, and when you have no resources, you just have to
Yeah,
take what you get, and you
yeah,
don't. Yeah, that is, and if we can be those crusaders to help people plan ahead and not have to worry about just taking what they can get, that is just so, if that's not motivating, I don't know what is.
yeah. They are very hard conversations, right? Just like talking about life insurance, life and long-term care, living benefits. Those are hard conversations, but we must have them
Yes.
because we must be aware, and know what our options are because we have options.
Yes,
We
there
have
are.
tools and there is hope. So if we can share that hope and those tools with people, if they can be open to allowing us, and we can come in with that heart of compassion and safety so that they know we care, right? Like we say, caring is sharing, right? But
Yes.
we didn't know when my brother was younger and he was institutionalized. We did our best. My parents did their best. They didn't know any different. They did the best they could, and we can't fault them for it. But we learn, right? We learn
Right.
some of those life experiences and that there is a better way. And we are in different times. Back then,
Hmm.
we didn't have all the resources we have now. Like now
Right.
we learn about life insurance. Mike and I have this conversation often with younger people because we tell them if we had known back then when we were your age, what we know now, we could have been in a better situation. We're in a better
Yes.
situation now because of this,
Hmm.
but we could have been in this better situation a long time ago,
Right.
right?
Yeah. And it's so hard to like it's hard conversation to have, and young people, it takes a lot more for them to get it. But that's why,
Yeah.
the people, I really respect the people in our company, because we are very relentless in a compassionate way. It's not about, pushing to make numbers. It's about educating people and getting them to open their eyes to see how important it is to prevent, yourself from being in a situation.
Yeah.
And I just, I'm so happy that, people like you are on this, crusade, because it's important. And you guys, are the perfect people to get that message out there.
Thank you, Beth. So are you.
Thank you.
We're a
Thank you.
team. We're a
Yes,
team.
amen. We're in this together. So
Yes.
may God flood the gates wide for all of us.
Yes, I
Yeah.
appreciate this so much. This conversation is so necessary and pleasant. I love getting the message out in this
I
manner.
think also through this business, we learned because she's 19 already. So we learned about Social Security disability for her and other programs that are out there that limit the amount of money she can have if we want to take advantage of those services for her, or even
Ah,
through other county organizations. Again, they look at our overall income. So in a way, you have to have limited income to get that kind of help, and
right,
it's very it's very ironic. It's so if you want anything different, it doesn't really promote you to be wealthy. It doesn't promote you to be even middle class, right? Because it almost wants to force you to stay in a lower bracket. So that's
right,
why you have to do your own research. And again, I learned through this business that there are other things like the life insurance that we could do that that she can have those sources, and it's not going to be taken away from her because it's not going to be counted as an asset for her.
right.
Mhm.
That's really interesting to bring up, because I see that a lot. You go to school, and your whole hope is to graduate and have a higher paying job, but the amount of money you would make is just enough to not qualify you for special services, but it's not enough to survive, like there's got to be a balance here, like it's it just almost makes your success make you more give you more struggle. And I don't know, that is just something wrong with the system. You know what I mean? And that's just important for people to be aware of, when they're planning their futures. You got to look at what career choices you make, especially if you have a special needs child. I mean, nobody predicts that, right, in life, but just, having that ability to just have no limits on what income you can make is so important. And definitely the reason why I'm doing this business on top of my full-time career. Yeah.
I think this business was really an eye-opener for us in that it helped us transition out of feeling stuck. Because you don't have to be forced to stay in that place. But if you don't know any different, if you don't know that there's something better out there, we don't know what we don't know, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I just think it's powerful, like, what better place to learn about how to manage your money than in the financial services industry? I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer there. Why wouldn't you want to learn from the experts, right?
Yes.
So I talk to people in all walks of life and all different careers on this show. Every person I speak to has a different background, but I've had multiple people who I work with that come on because of their crusade stories and how powerful it is. It really is a driving force on all the choices you make with your finances. And I just want to ask you guys, like, what is your vision of your life? Like, if you had no limits, like if this business just really took off and you had everything that you needed, like what is your vision? What do you see your life looking like?
Yeah. Well, basically, I guess to sum it up, we want to be financially independent, to have more than enough. So if we want to go to see a certain doctor, we can just go. But basically, just be financially independent, have more than enough for everything.
What about you, Espy? What do you see?
Yeah, similarly, because having financial hardship really straps you and affects you in every area of life, and even your health affects your relationships and your ability to provide for your family above and beyond. But especially when it comes to the basics, to even know that when you have financial hardship, that even in the basics, you can't provide for them as you would like to as a parent, and as you feel and wanting to be responsible. So that financial freedom is key. But to have more than enough to be able to give out to others, like you mentioned about the crusade. And I think for us, number one, get our daughter's future, knowing that she's covered above and beyond, and that she won't have the same restrictions we had. But even with her diagnosis, she has other restrictions on top of what we have had. So we want her to be financially free. We want her to be well taken care of. And then also to be able to give out to others, whether it's our community, our church, or organization. One of the things that's really dear to our hearts is there's an organization called Water for Life, excuse me. And, they collect money for water pumps. For water wells. And I was telling Mike, wouldn't it be great if they could just go to their faucet in their house and get water from their home? The water wells are great. They're a blessing. They're a step up for sure. But beyond that, for them to even have I don't know if it's the infrastructure in their little
village,
in their little villages to have that. So we've talked about that a lot. We'd like to, I guess maybe that's kind of our noble cause, something that we'd like to do. And also for other families with special needs, we want to, also reach them and help educate them on our financial services so that they too can learn what we've learned, so they too can have that financial freedom and be able to pick and choose programs or doctors for their children or supplements or things like that.
Yes. And, it just kind of blows my mind, because every time I meet somebody with a child with special needs, and I always wonder, like, how do you do it? Because a lot of times it's like, you can't work, you have to, the child needs constant assistance, and I'm just like, how are parents like making it happen? And they do. People who have children of special needs are true warriors and advocates for them, and I just have so much respect. And I always try to talk with them and learn like different ways that I can be an advocate for my kids, just in the community as well. All the different, nonprofit organizations out there that really help people, parents with children that with special needs. Like there's so many out there, but I feel like it's still, there's such a need that's so underserved out there. And I think
Yes.
education is so important, and that's what I pride myself on what we do, because it's a very innovative way of bringing education to the community. I think you learn from the people who go through it and who have that in their heart, and that is just so powerful and very important. I think what you guys are doing is just it's heartfelt, and I just love you guys for that. Like, you guys are just so strong. So I really, really thank you guys for coming on the show. Like, it's so amazing to be associated with you guys. I feel your energy, and I feel, the love you have for your community and your child, Rebecca. She's so amazing, and she's so, her laugh is just so energizing. Whenever I hear it, it just makes you smile.
We feel the same about you, and you yourself are very strong, and you're such a wonderful advocate for your son also. And I know you're reaching so many people. So bless you for your mission, your ministry, your love, and your courage, and stepping out and just making all of this information known to your audience, because it's not limited to special needs families, right?
Yes.
I know it's dear to our hearts, but we want to reach families. No family left behind.
Yes, that's our motto. That's our mission.
Right? Yeah.
No family left behind. That's right. And, I love that we have this in common, because we are on a very similar path, and we want the same thing. So it's just going to motivate us to work as a team to get there.
Yes. Amen.
So I thank you so much. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate you coming on the show, and just keep doing what you're doing. It's just gonna end in complete and total success, and you guys are gonna get what you want and definitely deserve.
Thank you,
Thank
Bev.
you.
We appreciate it. Thank you for allowing us to be your guest today.
No problem.
Honored. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on Dark Horse Matters, the show about people, their passions, and their pursuit toward happiness. If you like this episode, don't forget to subscribe and hit that thumbs up, and hit the notification bell so you can be notified every time I post a new video with a new story that can inspire all of you. So until next week, be passionate.